These are fiction's 8 most disturbing creatures ever created. From parasites that burst out of human chests, to an organism so horrifying that nobody can tell who's human anymore. We'll break down every creature and explain what makes them so terrifying. Starting with Pennywise. Pennywise from It movie is one of the most disturbing creatures in all of fiction. It all starts in the town of Derry, a place with a dark history of violence and disappearances. Every 27 years, something wakes up beneath the city, something ancient and hungry, and it feeds on one thing above all else: fear. Pennywise is a shapeshifter. He takes the form of whatever scares you most: a leper, a werewolf, a giant spider. But his default form is a dancing clown with sharp teeth, red balloons, and a smile that stretches too wide. He uses a children's entertainer to hunt children, and the kids of Derry keep falling for it because nobody suspects the clown. The 2017 movie version of Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård, is nightmare fuel. The way he moves, the way his eyes go in different directions, the way he smiles like his face is being pulled apart from the inside. Skarsgård studied animal movements for the role. He made Pennywise feel unnatural, like something pretending to be human and not quite getting it right. That performance made the character legendary. The darkest part of Pennywise isn't the killing, it's the manipulation. He doesn't just eat kids, he tortures them first. He finds their deepest fears and makes them real. He wants their meat marinated in terror, so he whispers threats and shows you your worst nightmare. And then, when you're frozen in absolute panic, he eats you, slowly, and he enjoys every second of it. But here's the thing about Pennywise. He's a coward. He feeds on fear, but if you're not afraid, he's powerless. That's why a bunch of kids in a sewer defeated him. They stopped being scared. And without fear, Pennywise is just a sad, rotting thing from outer space. The Xenomorph. The Xenomorph from Alien is the perfect organism, not because it's the strongest, but because it's designed to kill. It all starts with an abandoned spaceship on a dead planet. A crew responds to a distress signal and finds a derelict ship full of eggs. One of them hatches. A facehugger attaches to a crew member's face, implants an embryo, and dies. And then comes the chestburster. The chestburster scene is one of the most iconic horror moments in cinema. It bursts out of a human chest, covered in blood, screaming. The crew can't save their friend. The creature is too fast, too violent, and then it disappears into the vents. It grows, it sheds its skin, it becomes a fully grown xenomorph in hours. The xenomorph's design is pure biomechanical nightmare. An elongated head, no visible eyes, a second set of jaws hidden inside its mouth, acid for blood, a tail with a blade on the end. It climbs walls, it hides in ceilings, it moves silently, it hunts using motion and pheromones. You can't see it, hear it, and you can't even run from it. H.R. Geiger designed the xenomorph, and it's one of the most iconic creature designs in history. It doesn't have eyes because Geiger believed eyes show emotion, and the xenomorph has no emotion, just hunger and the drive to reproduce and kill. The darkest part of the xenomorph isn't the violence, it's the life cycle. It uses human bodies as incubators. It implants its young inside living hosts. The human hosts die in agony, and the xenomorph doesn't even see them as enemies, just tools and resource. You're not prey to the xenomorph. You're a womb with legs, and that's way more disturbing than being eaten. The clickers. The clickers from The Last of Us are one of the most disturbing creatures in video game history because they used to be people. It all starts with the cordyceps fungus. In real life, cordyceps infects ants, takes over their brains, and forces them to climb to high places before bursting out of their heads. In The Last of Us, the fungus jumps to humans. The infection spreads through spores. You breathe them in, you get infected. You have 24 hours before you lose your mind. Stage 1 is the runners. They're still humanish. They run fast, attack in groups, and scream. Stage 2 is the stalkers. They hide in the dark, sneak up on you, and ambush you. Stage 3 is the clickers, and that's where it gets really bad. Clickers have been infected for years. The fungus has grown through their skulls, burst through their eyes, and destroyed their faces. They're blind. They click and listen for your movement, and if they catch you, they rip your throat out with their teeth. The fungus has turned them into walking armor. You can shoot them in the chest, and they keep coming. The game developers at Naughty Dog made clickers sound terrifying. They recorded people making clicking sounds with their mouths, then processed them until they felt unnatural. The sound design is so good that players avoid areas just because they hear the clicking. The visual design is even worse. You can see the human face underneath the fungus. You can still recognize the person they used to be, but they're not human anymore. The Mindflayer. The Mindflayer from Stranger Things Season 3 is the peak of the show's horror. Season 5 Mindflayer was good, but the Season 3 was the scariest thing the show ever did. It all starts with the Upside Down, a dark dimension full of smoke, vines, and monsters. And at the center of it all is the Mindflayer, a massive shadow creature that wants to conquer our world. In Season 3, the Mindflayer finds a new way into Hawkins. It possesses people. First, it possesses Billy, the town bully, and uses him to gather followers. Then it creates a physical body, a massive abomination made of melted human flesh. It absorbs people into itself. Their bodies become part of the creature. The Mindflayer Season 3 form is a towering, spider-like horror made of rotting meat and bones. It moves in jerky, unnatural ways. It drags itself through buildings, crushing everything in its path. It has a face that looks almost human, like someone made a sculpture of a face using body parts and forgot how eyes work. The Pale Man. The Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth is one of the most disturbing creatures ever put on film. It all starts in a fantasy world created by Guillermo del Toro. A young girl named Ophelia discovers she's the reincarnated princess of the underworld. To prove her identity, she must complete 3 tasks, and the second task involves the Pale Man. Ophelia finds a feast laid out on a table in the Pale Man's lair, but she's not allowed to eat anything. The Pale Man is asleep in the corner, starving creature with wrinkled skin and no eyes. He's waiting. He can't see, but he senses when something touches his food. And when Ophelia, being a hungry child, takes a grape and eats it, the Pale Man wakes up. He's not fast or strong, but he's persistent. He puts his eyeballs into the palms of his hands, holds them up to his face, and looks around. It's one of the most disturbing images in cinema. A creature with eyes in his hands, shuffling toward a terrified girl, reaching out with long, skeletal fingers. And he's horrifying because he doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to run. He just needs to find her. And when he does, he'll eat her, slowly, bit by bit. Guillermo del Toro designed the Pale Man based on Greek myths about child-eating creatures. He wanted something that looked ancient and starving. The Pale Man only exists to consume. The Smile Entity. The Smile Entity from Smile movies is one of the most psychologically disturbing creatures in recent horror. It all starts with a smile. A friend, a coworker, a stranger. They smile at you, too wide and too long, and then they kill themselves in the most brutal way possible, right in front of you, and then the entity transfers to you. The Smile Entity is a curse. It's a trauma demon. It latches onto someone with deep emotional pain and feeds on their misery. It haunts them for days. It shows them hallucinations of smiling people. It slowly breaks their mind until they can't tell what's real and what's not. And then, at the peak of their despair, it takes control. It forces them to smile, and they kill themselves in front of the next victim. In Smile 2, the entity is even more brutal. It follows a pop star named Sky Riley, a woman already dealing with trauma, guilt, and addiction. The entity uses her past mistakes against her. It isolates her from everyone who could help. And when she finally thinks she's free, the entity reveals it was never gone. It was just waiting for the perfect moment. The entity's design is simple but effective. It's invisible most of the time, but when it reveals itself, it's a grotesque creature made of multiple faces, arms, and teeth. It looks like a living corpse, like someone peeled off their own skin and stitched it back together wrong. And the way it moves is unnatural. Fast, jerky, insect-like. It crawls inside you and makes you smile while you're screaming inside. The darkest part of the Smile Entity is the ending of Smile 2. Sky thinks she's won. She thinks she's killed the entity, but she was hallucinating the entire time. The entity was never gone. It was just waiting. And in the final scene, she smiles standing on a stage in a concert. A wide, horrible, unnatural smile. She takes a microphone stand and kills herself in front of thousands of screaming fans. The cycle continues, and with thousands of witnesses watching, the horrifying question isn't whether the entity survived. It's how many new victims just saw that smile. The bear. The bear from Annihilation is one of the most disturbing creatures ever created. It all starts in Area X, a mysterious zone where reality is breaking down. A team of scientists enters the zone to find out what happened to the previous expedition. They find plants growing in human shapes, deer with multiple eyes, and then they find the bear. The bear is a mutated black bear, but something is very wrong with it. Its skull is cracked open, its face is twisted, and it makes sounds that are not animal sounds. It screams, but not like a bear, like a human. A woman screams, coming from inside the bear, because the bear didn't just kill the previous expedition member. It absorbed her pain, her fear, her voice, all trapped inside an animal's body. The scene where the bear attacks is one of the most terrifying scenes in modern cinema. The team hides in a building. The bear is outside, and then it starts mimicking the voice of the woman it absorbed. It calls out for help, in her voice, like she's still alive. And the team is forced to realize that the woman they came to find is dead, but her agony is still echoing inside the creature. And the monster is using her voice to hunt. The sound design is what makes it truly disturbing. They recorded human screams and pitched them down to match the bear's roars. The result is something that sounds human, but isn't. The Thing. The Thing from the 1982 movie is the ultimate shape-shifting horror. It all starts in Antarctica. A Norwegian research team finds a spaceship buried in the ice. They dig out a frozen creature and take it back to their base. The creature thaws, and then it starts pretending to be them. It absorbs and perfectly replicates any living organism it touches. It copies their appearance and mannerisms so perfectly that nobody can tell the difference. The Thing is a cellular parasite. If you cut off its arm, the arm will turn into a creature and try to attack you. It doesn't have a fixed form. It can become anything. A dog, a human, a spider-like abomination. The creature's transformations are grotesque, messy, and deeply unsettling. The head splits open and tentacles come out. The chest opens into a giant mouth. The dog's body turns inside out and becomes a monster. It's not just scary, it's repulsive. It makes you feel dirty just watching it. The Thing doesn't just kill you, it unmakes you. It twists your body into something unrecognizable. The Thing's scariest ability is its intelligence. It knows how to act human. It knows how to lie and manipulate. It sabotages the team's equipment and makes them turn on each other. By the end of the movie, the team can't trust anyone anyone. And the thing doesn't even care if it wins. It just wants to survive, and it will destroy every human on Earth to do it. The darkest part of the thing is the ending. Two survivors sit in the snow, freezing to death. One of them might be the thing. Neither knows and trusts the other, and they just sit there, waiting to die or be absorbed. There's no hope or rescue, just the cold and the question. And that question is worse than any answer. And that's about it for this video. Let me know in the comments which creature disturbed you the most. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.